Welcome back to Power 9 Pro. This is your host, Brian Greer of Deck Builder Radio. Today we're going to be going over a matchup between Faeries and the top winning deck of Grand Prix Seattle, Doran. Stay tuned for the sideboarded games between Pedro Rodriguez and myself. Before we started the game, we decided the role, and I have won the role playing Faeries, and I will play first. Pedro Rodriguez is still mulliganing, which is something we have noticed with this deck. He calls it the deck that mulligans into oblivion. It can happen, but he has also won off of mulligans to 5 and 6. So even 4 actually, as a matter of fact. So it is a very good deck even on the mulligans. So we'll see here, he is mulligan to 6, and we'll see if he can pull out something worth keeping. Alright, so to start off, I'm going to look at my opening hand. I've already divided the lands and the spells up, so I can give a better look to you guys. You can see it is a very good hand. I have a good play on the turn 1 and turn 2, turn 3 ideally. So we're going to go ahead and start off. Pedro, are you keeping?
Yep.
Alright, then I'm going to go and play my Secluded Glen. I'm going to show Pedro a Bitter Blossom. I'm doing that because I'll be playing this turn 2, depending on what he shows me. I will then tap and play Thoughtseize. At this stage, my life total goes down to 18. Looking at Pedro's hand, he has a 1-drop, 2 Murmuring Bosks, 2 1-drops actually, and a Sledge and a Qasali Pride Mage. Now, the Treetop Harbinger is kind of annoying because you can get cards that are bad for my deck as Doran and Chameleon Colossus. The fact that he has 2 lands is a good trigger because he's kind of short on mana. So if I take the Noble Hierarch, it makes it so he has to do something else, like a Harbinger into another land possibly. Qasali Pride Mage is also very annoying. I'm going to ask Pedro's opinion. My instincts are probably to take these 2, mostly taking the Noble Hierarch. Would you agree with that statement?
One thing that you haven't mentioned at all is that Treefolk Harbinger is actually the only Treefolk in my hand. So if you take this, unless I draw a Treefolk, I can't play turn 1 Noble Hierarch.
Which is very true, and that is another instance as to why to take Treefolk Harbinger. Knowing that, and thank you Pedro, I will decide to take the Harbinger.
So to my draw phase and see how much that hurts. Fortunately, we actually drew a land that comes into play untapped, and we'll play Noble Hierarch, and then we'll pass the turn.
Alright, so he took a pain, and we're going to go ahead and draw. Very good cards drawing. We'll play the Sunken Ruins, and it's kind of hard now, because if I play Bitter Blossom, throwing that out there, he can potentially Qasali Pride Mage and blow it up, because I know he has... Well, he doesn't have a Treefolk, so if he doesn't draw a Treefolk, my Bitter Blossom's fine. If he does draw a Treefolk, I lose my Bitter Blossom, and then potentially my hand is very weak after that. I'm going to go ahead and do it anyways, and hope for the best and pass the turn.
So, go to our turn. Really the only thing we have right now is play Murmuring Boss tapped, take another pain, and play Pride Mage, and then pass the turn.
On my upkeep, I'll drop down to 17 from the Bitter Blossom token, and we'll draw for the turn. Pretty good draws. It's what I want to see at this stage. We'll play an island to start off. Now we have a Qasali Pride Mage that's going to be very annoying here shortly. A Noble Hierarch, which is controlling his drops. I kind of want to get rid of the Pride Mage now, so I'm going to cast Deathmark and take care of that guy early. I will then pass the turn.
Go to our draw phase. Now hopefully he doesn't have a counter, but there's only really one thing we can do, which is try to force this through. Behemoth Sledge.
Okay, knowing that this card is very annoying because it gives the trample lifelink, it's something that I don't like. I'm going to go ahead and counter it because it does exactly cost what I have to counter with a Spell Stutter Sprite. Spell Stutter Sprite counts itself, so I have 1, 2, 3 Faeries, which equals a 3 on the Behemoth Sledge.
Then we'll play land, a Treetop Village more importantly, and pass turn.
Before we begin our turn, I wanted to say that I noticed he played the Treefolk, or the Treetop Village. It's very important that he does that because now I know he still has a Murmuring Bosk in hand. On my upkeep, I'll drop down to 16, getting another token. Draw for the turn. That's a pretty good draw. I'm going to go and play the land. I'm going to declare my attack steps. I have 2 attackers now, so I'll attack for 2. brings Pedro down to 16. Knowing his deck, I know he has Zealous Persecutions that would only really hurt me at this situation. So I'm going to go ahead and pass the turn and tell Pedro I have upkeep effects. On Pedro's upkeep, I'll choose to play Mistbind Clique.
So we have two options here. We have Path to Exile, and the question is, do we wait for him to champion or not? I kind of want to use my mana, so I think I'm just going to do it right now. So with the champion trigger on the stack, we'll Path to Exile the Mistbind Clique.
It's a bit unfortunate. It's not something that I would like to happen, but then again, I am removing his cards now.
Then we go to our draw phase. The only thing we have to do is attack the Treetop Village, which becomes a 4/4 because of Noble Hierarch.
And I'll take that damage and go to 13. Or actually 12 rather.
Then play Murmuring Boss so that he knows what we have, and then pass the turn.
On my upkeep, I drop down to 11. Draw. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and declare my attack steps. It's kind of annoying because right now he is winning the race with Treetop Village and the Noble Hierarch. I can hold back my entire team, which is 4, to potentially kill it. He's losing a land drop at that stage. Is it worth it? Might be, might not be. It's very annoying. I'm actually going to pass the turn.
Not the best draw that we could have. If we attack right now, he's just going to trade us 4 creatures for our Treetop Village. If we don't attack, he's just going to get 1 more token and start attacking with that token, and we'll start losing life off there. And the other thing we have to consider is if we go like to turn 20, the deck that's probably going to win is Faeries, has all the answers. So we want to be ending the game as quickly as possible, and the Treetop Village gives us a little bit more leeway on drawing a threat. So we're going to go ahead and attack with the Treetop Village.
And I will block as I said last turn.
Then we're fine with the damage. Then play a land for the turn and pass it back.
On the upkeep, I go to 10 from the Bitter Blossom and draw. Right, so the draw spells, so far we're drawing pretty good. No reason to play anything in my hand right now, and I'll just pass.
Go to my turn, and we'll just attack a Noble Hierarch since it'll be a 1/2.
Take the damage.
And we'll pass it back.